What a blast from the past. But if I could describe the finals in one word, it would be chaos. But the one thing you can't take into account is that guns are good. And naturally, I've decided to play without them.
Oh my God, you just made Nola!
And before we begin, I should probably explain this game. Or more specifically, the game mode we'll be playing, Quick Cash. The finals is a game in which, at least in Quick Cash, 3 teams of 3 fight over a box that must be claimed and extracted in a fully destructible environment. First, the cash box is unlocked, starting a timer until the box can be picked up and moved into an extraction site where it must be defended. If another team is able to, they can claim the box while it's being extracted. The team that has the box claimed at the end of the extraction gets $10,000. The first team to get to $2,000 wins. Again, this is only the summary of Quick Cash, so this may or may not be applicable to other game modes. So with that explanation finished, so this challenge is as follows. I'm not allowed to use any sort of ranged weapon, which I'm only saying because throwing knives exist.
I hate you bees! I hate you bees!
With the exception of grenades and throwing canisters. And I need to win with a combat score of at least 4,000 or higher. Meaning my team can't carry me, and I need to do this 3 times in 25 games. So the first 8 matches weren't recorded. I didn't win a single game, and I had only one match that had a combat score of 4K or higher, where my team got 2nd place and I had a combat score of 9,042, over double the required amount. I also decided to look up ideas for my build since my original strategy of using the goo grenade, molly, smoke, knife, and cloak weren't working. This led to me working towards the loader of the sword, dash, glitch grenade, vanishing bomb, and gas grenade. Oh, and on game 7 I bought this sword and realized how absolutely annoying shotguns are. Now onto the games that we have actual footage of. And game 9 was like a breath of fresh air, as this was our first bit of actual progress. This is my first game where I can say I carried. And I began to learn how the sword worked and how to play with it, as I began to realize that without much range or health, I had to rely on mobility and stealth. So my strategy began to become what I call the King Bond Special, which consisted of 3 steps: select, stalk, and slice your target. This essentially guarantees a kill on any character in 3 hits, or 4 if they're max health medium that isn't a heavy. Those I just huck a grenade at and hope for the best. I then began to use this strategy in order to win my 2nd game only 2 rounds later. And in all honesty, I wasn't talking much in my games, since this strategy relies purely on game sense, and I need to lock in. Again, not having a ranged option outside of grenades severely limits my options, and as I began to figure this out, we enter a stage I face in most of my challenges, and that's what I call. Now, why this happens could be chalked up to many reasons, some being the game bumping my MMR up, the types of players I'm against, or most likely, me being late. Anywho, here are some highlights for the next 9 matches.
Hey, so editing Chroma here. I would have done more of the edit, but kinda got bored. Bye bye.
After these travesties, I had actually locked in. In fact, on match 23, I ended with a combat score of 3,438, only 562 off 4K. Now if we go and check the match, after these travesties, I had actually locked in. Now, this is when I locked in. See, we start off strong. In fact, we get a clean defense for our first 10K. This is probably one of my best starts, and we even get the 2nd cash box, and it's beginning to look like a steamroll. And luckily, I didn't have enough CS, so the Boundless stole from us, giving me more time to farm kills. This match literally could not have been going better for me. But like a baby in a hot car, everything started to melt away. And we ended up in the best interpretation of BTD 6, as my team had to fight tooth and nail, getting kills, revives, spamming grenades, and holding angles for as long as possible. However, we get clapped in our final moments by a member of the Boundless, and if they can steal in time, not only do we not get the cash out, but they win immediately. And as we respawn, all I can do is sit and wait as the time hits. 0. Looking back, this game is way too chaotic to be running around with a sword. The fact that it took me 25 games to complete this challenge is sort of proof of that. And there's not really much to say. Melee equals hard. I mean, that's kind of it, man.